In the quaint town of Willow Creek, autumn brought crisp air and the scent of falling leaves. The season was marked by the annual Harvest Festival, a time when families came together to celebrate the changing of the season. This year, however, was set to be different. There were whispers amongst the townsfolk of missing mascots and characters from beloved children's shows, a strange occurrence that stirred unease in the hearts of the locals. It all started when the jovial bunny mascot, Benny the Brave, disappeared. He was the highlight of the festival, known for his big smile and bright orange costume. The day he vanished, parents saw a flicker of panic in their children's eyes. Benny was to lead the parade, ensuring that laughter and joy permeated the chilly air. Instead, there was a vacant float, forlorn and untouched, casting a shameful shadow across the festivities. As the sun sank lower, turning the sky a violet shade, word spread throughout the festival about other missing characters. Cuddles the bear, a once huggable friend, had vanished from the toy store, and Sunny the squirrel, a pep-talking guide from the local children's program, was nowhere to be found. As the parade trudged on without them, a feeling of unease enveloped the atmosphere, quickly replaced by whispers of rumor. Could the recent disappearance be connected? Evelyn, a curious 17-year-old, had always been somewhat of a skeptic. She had marveled at the antics of her favorite childhood characters but now felt a chill as the absence of their jubilant spirits became palpable. Determined to uncover the truth, she spent the week leading up to the festival scouring through interviews and talking to other kids at her school. What she found was chilling. The characters didn't just go missing, they seemed to leave behind a malevolent energy, one that whispered of revenge. On the eve of the festival, Evelyn decided to venture to the small, run-down theme park that had been closed for years. It had once been filled with laughter, but now it was overgrown with weeds and rusting rides. It was said that the park was haunted, a notion that had made Evelyn scoff as a child, but loomed heavily in her mind. Flicking on a flashlight, she stepped inside. The air was stale, each creak of the ancient boards echoing into the darkness. What she found in the park was beyond her wildest nightmares. In a corner, tattered remnants of costumes were strewn, remnants of those mascots who had once brought joy to countless children. Worn shoes lay atop a discarded headpiece that belonged to Benny the Brave, and Cuddles' fluffy exterior had become matted and grotesque. Yet the most disturbing aspect was the walls. They were smeared with messages in what appeared to be a frenzied hand. "They should have never taken us. We want our lives back." Evelyn's heart raced, feeling the clawing sensation of fear creeping up her spine. As she turned to leave, she heard a rustling sound. Anxiety tightening her chest, she held her breath as she noticed shadows moving in the flickering glow of her flashlight. It was there, in the depths of the crumbling park. Cuddles stood, his form distorted and dark, patched over with dirt and rage. He had lost the warmth of his friendly demeanor, his eyes hollow and filled with darkness. "Join us, Evelyn," he growled, his once soft voice now cold and piercing. Suddenly, clattering and faint whispers erupted behind her. From the darkness emerged the rest, Benny, Sunny, and more, all twisted and hostile in a sick simulation of their former selves. They had become reanimated nightmares, driven by jealousy and anger at being cast aside by a world that had quickly outgrown them. Panicking, Evelyn dashed to escape, but they moved in unison, distorted versions of joyful chants twisted into menacing roars. "You'll never leave. We feast on your fears." The Halloween decorations that had once adorned the park were now ominous, grabbing at her limbs, as if the very atmosphere turned against her. Evelyn sprinted toward the exit, throwing herself against a locked gate. As she pulled fruitlessly, she could hear the character mascots raging behind her, voices melding into a cacophony of sorrow and wrath. She remembered an old story her grandmother used to tell about believing in magic, how the more you ignore something, the stronger it becomes. Those characters had been neglected, forgotten, and now they were reclaiming their presence with terrifying vigor. With a surge of adrenaline, Evelyn remembered one last thing. Cuddles might be suffering, trapped in a puppet of malevolent exteriors. So she turned and called out to them, reminding them of the joy they once brought her, focusing on their forgotten smiles, their warmth. "We loved you, we still do," she shouted, infusing her words with sincerity. Slowly, the characters halted, their eerie motions faltering. The anger dissipated, replaced by a flicker of recognition, regret seeping into their twisted forms. "Help us find peace," Sunny beckoned, no longer a threat but a pleading shadow, desperate for release. Taking a tentative step closer, Evelyn whispered promises of remembrance. Maybe the world hadn't completely forgotten them. It was a fragile truce, but beneficial nonetheless. As she spoke, she watched as they began to fade, caught between the world of the living and the shadows they had inhabited. When the first rays of dawn emerged, the park stood eerily silent. Though they had vanished, it was with the understanding that they would no longer be forgotten. For the people of Willow Creek, a new festival tradition began that year. Tales of the lost characters finding peace, reminding everyone each autumn not just to celebrate the harvest but to cherish the joy that once filled their lives, both real and imagined.